It's hard to believe this is the last section. And as we know, it's science, no table. So this is going to go fast. Science reminder, reading for theme. Always reading for theme. And then after we do that, or while we're reading, research design, circling dates, and always just making it easier to go back into the text when we do have to go back into the text. So we know that there's a few tricks, our question order rule, how to go back into the text quickly, but if we do take the time to look for our research design, there's always questions about research design, so we know how to get back to those quickly. We know that there's going to be some question about a date, and so going in and like circling the date just to be sure that we can get back to that quickly. And the names, there's always going to be a reference to the scientist that is conducting the research and the other scientists that do the subsequent research. So there's always going to be reference to that. So we can get back to the names and get that back to that quickly. When we do get those questions, that's where we have to find the best evidence. Other than that, it's time to read. Let's start with theme. So I have electricity. I'm going to say electricity or prey are what causes the Venus flytrap to close, but it must be within 20 seconds. So I know it's triggering hair, so triggering the first hair won't cause anything. Touching the second hair has to take within 20 seconds. And that was repeated throughout the reading, 20 seconds or quickly, and it's repeated again toward the end. So I want to make sure that I have that in there just to remind myself about the time elapse and how important that is. I'm ready to look at the questions. The primary purpose of the passage, this is a theme passage. Does it discuss findings that offer a scientific explanation for the Venus flytrap's closing action? I think that's very true to what I wrote for the theme, so I really like that one. So let's keep that one. Does it present research that suggests that the Venus flytrap's predatory behavior is both complex, not too much, and unique among animal? It would have to have some sort of like contrast to say that it's unique among plants. We can't. There wasn't there. Identify the process by which the Venus flytrap's closing action has evolved. Took snapshots, so there's no evolution. Provide a brief overview of the Venus flytrap and its predatory behavior. So A and D, both are true. Actually, that's true. Predatory behavior meaning it preys on live animals. So which one can't be wrong between A and D? A can't be wrong. Based on the passage, a significant advantage of the Venus flytrap's requirements for multiple triggers is that it, multiple triggers, touches the first hair, then moves on to the second within 20 seconds. That's our theme. Enables the plant to identify the species of its prey. Not true. Conserves the plant's calcium reserves. Now, I do remember that, so let's not get rid of it, but I think that's a little too specific. Safeguards the plant's energy supply. Actually, I think I wrote that. Prevents the plant from closing before capturing its prey. So if I'm looking between the calcium reserves or the energy supply, requirements for multiple triggers, I know that it's the energy supply. It says it right over here. The energy supply, and it actually says closing the trap requires a huge expanse of energy. It says energy supply. Which choice provides the answer for the best? I may have just found it. Which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the following question? Line 3 to 7, closing to time. Again, we're looking for energy supply. 3 to 7, closing to time. Closing its trap requires a huge expanse of energy. It's word for word. I didn't read all of it. Sorry. Closing its trap requires a huge expanse of energy, and reopening the trap can take several hours. So the Venus flytrap only wants to spring closed when it's sure that the dawdling insect visiting its surface is large enough to be worth its time. I'm not going to read anymore. I know, that just said it word for word. The use of the phrases dawdling insect, happily meanders, and unassuming bugs encounter in the first two paragraphs establishes a tone that is, all right, here are the words that they're asking you about. Dawdling, happily meandering, and unassuming bug. Okay. Dawdling, happy meandering, unassuming bug. What is the tone of that? Is that an academic tone? No. If it's an academic tone, we'd be using SAT words that we couldn't figure out. So no, we're going to get rid of that. Is it melodramatic? Are they like making this theatrical thing? It's not happening. No. Is it informal? It's very informal. It's not, we're not using tier 3 higher level vocabulary. It's a dawdling insect. It's an unassuming bug, happily meandering. It's very informal. Is it mocking? That one's one to be careful about, because what in particular would they be mocking? Are they mocking the scientists? Are they mocking the plant itself? Or is it mocking, what's the tone? So when we're talking about the bugs, we're talking in a very informal tone. In the second paragraph, the lines 15 to 31, the discussion of short-term memory primarily functions to, so let's see if we can get rid of any of these before we look back. We may be able to get through a couple. Clarify an explanation of what prompts the Venus flytrap to close. It's very true to our theme. I'm not going to get rid of that one. Advance a controversial hypothesis about the function of electric charges found in the leaf of the Venus. That was not even gone over in the entire passage. So no. Stress the distinction between the strategies of the Venus flytrap and the strategies of human beings. I won't get rid of it, but I don't like the word strategies. If I was pressed for time, I'd get rid of it, because strategies, I don't know, but we're not pressed for time right now, so I'll keep it just in case. Emphasize the Venus flytrap's capacity for retaining detailed information about its prey. Actually, short-term memory, no. So between A and C, which one can't be wrong? Do we remember? I mean, I don't think we have to look back. Clarify an explanation of what prompts the Venus flytrap to close. All in all, that's basically our theme, so we're keeping it. Or stress the distinction between the strategies of the Venus flytrap and the strategies of human beings. Strategies, short-term memory, strategies. So 15 to 31. Just kind of look at it really quickly. Are we looking for strategies for short-term memory? And it ends with a hypothesis. There's no strategy in there. Let's get rid of that one. And it's A. According to the past, and again, if I was strapped for time on that one, this is our theme. So I would have just picked that one and just moved on and known that I got it right. According to the passage, which statement best explains why the Venus flytrap requires a second trigger hair to be touched within a short amount of time in order for the trap to close? Does the second trigger produce an electrical charge that reverses the charge produced by the first trigger? No. No. That was really silly. The second trigger stabilizes the surge of calcium ions created by the first trigger. The first trigger doesn't do anything. It doesn't say calcium, so no. The second trigger prompts the calcium channels to open. The second trigger prompts the calcium channels to open. If the calcium channels are opening, then it's snapping shut. So I like that one. The second trigger provides a necessary supplement to the calcium concentration released by the first trigger. There was no calcium released by the first trigger. It just activated the memory to start and to say, ooh, there might be something. So let's see. Which choice describes a scenario in which Haddock and Siever's model predicts that a Venus flytrap will not close around an X? Okay, so remember, if it's not going to close, and I talked about this, and it's in the theme, it has to be within 20 seconds. So 21 seconds, it's not going to close. 20 seconds, 19 seconds, 18 seconds, it's going to close. So just as a reminder, 48. A large insect's second contact with the plant's trigger hair results in a total calcium ion concentration above the trap's threshold. Okay, I'll take it. That's a lot of words, but that would make it close. Second, a large insect's second contact with the plant's trigger hair results in a total calcium ion concentration above the trap. Remember, it's the calcium that makes the trap shut. So that would make it close around an insect. A large insect makes contact with a second trigger hair after a period of inactivity, during which calcium ion concentrations have diminished appreciatively. It will not close. So there's two things here. A period of inactivity has to be 20 seconds. So if that period of inactivity is 19 seconds, then it's not going to close. But if it's 20, 21 seconds, so that's saying not close, during which calcium ions have diminished. If it's going down, then it's going to have to start all over again. It's going to have to go through the first hair and then the second hair. So that means it will not close. So that one's true. I'm keeping that one. A large insect's contact with a plant's trigger hair causes calcium channels to open in the trap. Calcium channels to open in the trap? Calcium channels are what helps it close. So that's not true. A large insect's contact with a second trigger hair occurs within 10 seconds of contact with the first trigger hair. That would mean it's closing. 10 seconds. It would mean it's closing. We're looking for the one that would not close it. So it's B. Must nearly mean 67 demonstrated. 67 demonstrated. And his colleagues at Oakley University in Alabama first proved that Indian. Okay. Supported. I'm taking supported only because it says it right there, so I'm going to take the same word. Supports the model. It showed, it proved, it supported. So any word that says showed, proved, or supported. Showed, proved, or supported. Protested does not mean showed, proved, or supported. Established, I'm going to keep it. Performed does not mean showed. Performing, showed, but by showed I mean like demonstrated. Proved or supported. Performed doesn't mean proved. Performed doesn't mean supported. Argued doesn't mean supported or showed. Established. Based on the passage, which potential criticism might be made of Volkov's testing of Haddock and Siever's model? Let's have a quick look. Just to remind myself, I should have underlined. Here's Volkov, the first time we see him. So, testing of Haddock and Siever's model. So what did he do? He said it's electricity. Okay, so he tested the hairs not with an insect, but with electrodes, and he applied electrical currents. So he didn't use electricity, he used electrical currents. So anything that they're going to say that he did wrong is just because he didn't do it with insects, he did it with electrical currents. Volkov's understanding model was incorrect. There was no evidence of that. Corroborate, a central of the element of Haddock and Siever's model. To corroborate means to agree with. So he didn't, the only corroboration would be using a bug or using a electrical current. So I actually like B. I like that one. Volkov's direct application of an electrical current would have been objectionable. There's no evidence of that. We can't assume that. Volkov's technology was not available to Haddock. Well, again, we can't. That would be an assumption. So the two things that didn't corroborate. Here's the bug. Here's the electrical current. Those are the only things. So B is the answer. Which choice provides the best evidence? The following question. Okay, we're just looking for him to say that he used something different than they used. And I'm going to see if there's anything I can get rid of. On question 49, we're in line 67. On these ones, we're on line 66 to 69, so we can't get rid of any. So let's have a look. Alexander and Close, line 66 to 69. Alexander to Close, okay. I like that one. I'm not going to get rid of that one. I'm not going to get rid of that. Line 69 to 71, 2 test, 2 trap. 2 test, 2 trap. 69 to 71. To test the model, they rigged up very fine electrodes and applied an electrical current to open lobes of the trap. Again, I'm seeing that this one is, they're just talking about him using electrical currents. And here again, they're only talking about electrical currents. They're not really talking about the difference between the two. And we need that contrast to be able to answer the question. So let's keep going. This to increases 71 to 74. This made the trap close without any direct hit to trigger. This made the trap close without any direct touch to its trigger hairs. While they didn't measure calcium levels, the current likely led to increase. This made the trap close without any direct touch. Okay. So I like that one. Now let's look at when to close 74 to 77. When they modified this experiment by altering the amount of electrical current, Volkov could determine the exact electrical charge for the trap to close. Nothing similar in that one. So the thing that was similar, so this is only electrical. This is only electrical. This says the calcium levels. The calcium levels. This made the trap close without any direct touch to its trigger hairs. While they didn't measure calcium levels, the current likely led to increases. So increased calcium levels means that it's going to close. Based on the passage in studying the Venus flytrap, Volkov and his colleagues made the most extensive use of which type of evidence? Did they use mathematical models to predict the electrical charge required to close the Venus flytrap? No, there's no evidence of that. Did they use an analysis of data collected from previous researchers' work, including the Venus flytrap's response to electricity? The first half of it, yes. Analysis of data collected from previous research. The last half of it, no. Including response to electricity, they were the first to do that, so no. Information obtained from monitoring the Venus flytrap's response to varying amounts of electrical current, that was their entire thing, yes. Published theories of scientists who developed earlier no, they didn't. So C. Stop. Done. That's all. That's all we have. I really hope that this time you're seeing reading for theme. Now we're answering questions because we're matching it to the theme. We're going to pick up the pace a little bit more with that and show you how to do this quicker. But all in all, I really hope that you're starting to feel more confident with the questions and seeing that by active reading, you're able to predict what the questions are going to be, and that saves you so much time. And how else could you get through the SAT as quickly as we're about to? So we'll get through it faster, pick up the pace next time, certainly. Thank you so much for studying with me again on this series of tests, and I wish to see you again.